Whether or not you're a super fan of the Stranger Things, stay where you are because we are about to take a look back at the ending of season 3 of Stranger Things and how it totally tricked us all. Because something doesn't seem right. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We are giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. First, Season 3 in a nutshell. If you haven't even seen Season 3 of the much-loved franchise just yet and have gone ahead and ignored our previous spoiler alert warning, we're gonna ask you to save this video, open up a tab for Netflix, and binge this season as quickly as you can. As simply put, it's one of the best seasons of any modern show to date. You will seriously be missing out if you decide to continue on without having first watched it. Once again, we start off in the small town of Hawkins, Indiana, as we have so many times before. The gang's all back together and things seem to be going well. That is, except for the relationship between Mike, Eleven, and Hopper. You see, Mike and Eleven are in a typical teenage relationship, being overly affectionate and unruly towards their parental structures, which in this case is clearly the lovable Hopper. It gets so bad that Hopper even threatens Mike to stay away from the telekinetic teenager, which slowly causes Eleven to drift away from her caring father figure. The gang starts to notice that spooky things are happening around Hawkins again, such as the fact that magnets are no longer sticking to metallic surfaces. We also start to notice that Billy is not himself anymore, looking all feverish and all sweating profusely while on lifeguard duty at the pool. Oh, and did we mention that rats are randomly exploding into vats of goo? There also seems to be a Russian Terminator on the tail of Joyce and Hopper, who for some reason wants them dead. This is where we learn that Billy, who has been kidnapping people on the daily, has actually been infected by the creature that had previously played with Will's head, the Mind Flayer. That's right, boys and girls. Looks like the hostess with the mostess from the Upside Down has made its way to the right side up and is now infecting as many of the townsfolk of Hawkins as it possibly can for some reason. There's also a subplot where Steve and Robin discover a secret Russian base underneath the town, with Joyce and Hopper actually kidnapping one of the Russian scientists to try and figure out what the heck is going on. As it turns out, the Russians were actually using this insane-looking laser to open up a portal into the Upside Down, which is likely how the Mind Flayer was able to make its way into the right side up. Joyce and Hopper admit their feelings to one another before infiltrating the Russian base to try and close the portal, all while the gang gets ready to try and defeat the Mind Flayer once and for all. Oh, and did we mention that Eleven had to remove a part of the creature from her leg? Not only was this painful, it also resulted in her losing her telekinetic powers. Not the greatest of happenings when you consider that the Mind Flayer wants them all dead, with Eleven usually being the gang's saving grace. The gang is, however, able to distract the Mind Flayer with fireworks when it shows up, allowing Eleven to influence Billy by showing him the memories he had from when he was a little boy, causing him to stand up against the Mind Flayer and die in the process. At the same time, Hopper is fighting against the Russian Terminator next to the incredibly large laser we spoke about earlier, which results in him getting angry and throwing Mr. Terminator right into the laser and causing a malfunction. Surrounded by henchmen, Joyce has only one option, which is to pull the destruction switch, causing the henchman and the love of her life to be destroyed in the process, closing the rift to the Upside Down and resulting in the Mind Flayer falling down undefeated. The season then ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, with us getting a glimpse of a Russian holding facility rife with cages of all sorts. Worse yet, the Russians have at their disposal a Demogorgon, which they look to be feeding prisoners to. Second, the overarching theme of the season. Now that you've pretty much refreshed on the ins and outs of the season, let's get into the nitty-gritty, which is the season's overarching theme. You see, boys and girls, if you take away the kidnapping, monsters, and evil Russians, you're left with a pretty intriguing relationship dilemma between Eleven and Hopper. The theme of this relationship, as well as the season in general, is that of loss. Eleven wants nothing more than time away from Hopper so that she can canoodle with Mike, much like what most teenagers want time away from their parents for. Hopper, on the other hand, doesn't want to let Eleven out of his sight because he feels like he needs to protect her, not just from heartbreak, but from the rest of the world. We thus have both Eleven and Mike acting out and changing who they are because they're afraid to lose what they have with each other, as well as Hopper, who is clearly afraid to lose Eleven as his stand-in daughter to Mike.
There's something very wrong with this thing between you and Elle.
Oh, you lying piece of shit.
But it seems like the harder the characters try, the harder it becomes to keep their relationships on the up and up, causing everyone to drift apart. The season actually seemed to dedicate itself to the building up of characters that at first we didn't like, such as Hopper, only to take them away after getting the viewer to sympathize with them. Another good example of this is Billy, who took on the role of villain for the majority of the story, but ended up giving his life away in order to save the gang from the Mind Flayer, allowing Joyce just enough time to close the rift to the Upside Down. Another redeemed character lost. Third, the trick is in the framing. Well, boys and girls, we now know from the release of the trailer of Season 4 of the franchise that Hopper is alive and well. But what if we told you that there was more than sufficient evidence to support this fact even before the release of the trailer? That's right. So let's take a look back at that emotional scene where Hopper decides to sacrifice himself for the good of his friends and family. After throwing the Russian Terminator directly into the large laser, Hopper looks up to notice that he has been surrounded by a number of foot soldiers. The only way out with his life would be to surrender, but that would mean that Joyce would have to stop herself from destroying the laser and closing the portal, causing the Mind Flayer to run rampant in Hawkins. After Hopper gives Joyce a nod of approval and a loving glance, she pulls the switch and the laser explodes in a fit of fire and electricity. Very importantly, we see the explosion cremating the Russian foot soldiers, but not Hopper himself. In fact, before Joyce decides to pull the switch, we see Hopper exchange a look between her and the portal. We assumed that this was Hopper telling Joyce it was okay to pull the switch because the rift needed to be closed, but what if he was actually telling her to pull the switch because he could make it to the portal in time? So while our attention was on Joyce and then the Russian foot soldiers, Hopper was in actual fact making his way over to the portal and escaping into the Upside Down so that he would be safe from this explosion. This also explains how he could be working away in a Russian labor camp in the blistering cold on the other side of the world, as shown in the teaser trailer. We already know that the Russians were working on one portal, so maybe they were working on another on that side, with Russian researchers later discovering Hopper and imprisoning him as an American spy. Even before the trailer, there was another hint of this though, which could be seen in the Season 3 post-credit scene. In this scene, we watch as some Russians collect a man to be fed to the Demogorgon they possess, but before they collect this man, the one stops the other from opening a door, saying, "No, not the American."
Не американцы.
The evidence is all there, boys and girls. By getting us used to the concept of loss, the showrunners tricked us into thinking that Hopper was gone for good. Although we now know this for sure, we really should have paid attention in the first place, and then our hearts wouldn't be quite as broken as they were. Anyway, that wraps up the video. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the other videos on the channel. A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We are giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple.